After a lot of hard work, my raised bed garden is finally finished, and in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how I built these beds so you can have beds just as stunning. Now, this is part 2 of a 3-part series I'm doing on these garden beds. The first video, I told you how to design and prep all of your spaces. This video, I'm going to show you how to construct all of your garden beds, and the next video, we're going to talk about all of the drip irrigation system details. Look how cool these little noodle beans are. They're one of my favorite things I've grown this season. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss those videos. I will also have those linked down below in a little mini playlist for you guys. Now let's first talk materials. If you're getting your lumber milled for you, sometimes they're not going to be exactly 8 feet. So you're going to have to clean up your lumber and make some fresh cuts on the end to make sure all of your lumber is exactly the length that you need. If you're getting lumber from the store, they are going to be 8 feet. So your cut list is going to be a little bit easier. You can just cut all of those 8-foot boards in half to make your end caps, and then the sides are already 8 feet for you. The only other lumber that you're going to need besides the exterior boards is any sort of support boards that you put in the middle. I put 2 boards on the side, and then I have 4, one for each corner on the inside to keep all the courses connected together. These side supports on the inside are keeping the courses from bowing out with all of the weight of the soil, and then these corner supports are keeping each course connected to each other so they don't shift around. If you want to build a bed exactly like mine, for each bed you're going to need 6 boards that are 8 feet long, 6 boards that are 4 feet long, 2 side support boards that are 2 feet high, and 4 corner supports that are also 2 feet high. And for the corner supports, you can use whatever you have. A 2x4 or 4x4 will work. I love the height of these. They're perfect for me. They're super easy to reach across from both sides. I love the ease that I don't have to bend down very far. But if you're going to make them this big, keep in mind that this is a lot of volume of soil. I have 8 of these raised beds and I needed 20 cubic yards of soil. That is 2 dump trucks full. So that's a lot of shoveling, it's a lot of soil to deal with. So just keep that in mind if you're going to go super high like this. If you have rabbits and gophers, you might want to consider going at least 16 inches high. You don't have to go 24 inches high, but I love this height. For me, it was more of an aesthetic choice and an ease and convenience of use choice. What I chose to use for these raised bed gardens is hemlock. Now, cedar is pretty much the gold standard for any sort of raised beds, but cedar can get pretty expensive. And hemlock is a really great option. It's a harder wood than pine, but in my area, hemlock is about the same price as pine. Keep in mind that big box stores and hardware stores are not the only place that you can buy lumber. Look for a local sawmill, or especially a person who has milling equipment in their backyard. They are going to be the most affordable price, and it's nice to support somebody local. Great thing about getting lumber that is specifically milled for you is you can choose the exact dimensions that you want. So this, I had him go a little bit thicker than 1.5, like 1.6 and 8 inches wide. Now, when you're buying lumber from a big box store or hardware store, that lumber is not going to be dimensional. If you're buying a 2x8, it's going to be 1.5 by 7.5. Keep that in mind. So my guy actually sent me a picture of the tree that this lumber came from, and I think that is really, really cool. So wherever you decide to get your wood, just make sure you don't get pressure treated lumber, because a lot of the times pressure treated lumber is treated with very toxic chemicals like arsenic, and you really don't want those nasty chemicals leaching into the soil where you're going to be growing your food. Now, if you are going to seal your wood to try to get a little bit more longevity out of it, I would go with a natural sealer like tung oil or boiled linseed oil or some sort of food safe sealant. Don't just get like outdoor sealant, because a lot of the times that has toxic chemicals in it as well. Now, I did not seal my wood. Hindsight, I probably should have, but I have 0 patience. Hindsight, if I was going to seal the wood, I would have used tung oil, but tung oil does take about a month to cure. So if you are planning on sealing your wood, then definitely plan that month of cure time into your timeline. Let's get into the actual construction of these bad boys. Now we're going to build our first course. I would definitely recommend pre-drilling some holes for this so you don't split your wood. There are 2 ways you can attach the long sides to the inside of the short ones, or you can attach them to the outside of the short ones. I decided to attach the long sides to the outside of the shorties so I could have a little bit wider of a raised bed. Now remember, when you're assembling these, use exterior screws for this. So I attached the long sides to the short sides. If you switch this up a little bit and attach the shorties to the long boards, then your actual bed is going to be 4 feet wide exactly, and you can just do one strip of the hardware cloth down the middle. Now once your first course is assembled, you're going to put on your hardware cloth on the bottom. This is going to keep any sort of burrowing animals out from your raised beds. They're not going to be able to burrow underneath to get up and eat all of your precious veggies. First things first, what you're going to want to do is get the placement of all of your raised beds. Make sure that everything is exactly where you want it to go, because once you get these built and once you get dirt and soil inside, they're going to be nearly impossible to move because they're going to be very, very heavy. So rule of thumb, make sure you have at least 3 feet between your beds, just for make it a little bit easier for you to work so you can get a wheelbarrow through. As you're going around and adding course by course, please make sure that each course is level. This is pretty much the only time you're going to have to adjust anything. So make sure you do it now, because later on, especially when these beds get full of soil, they're going to be extremely hard to try to level. So you're level, you're going to start putting your corner braces on, and then you're going to start building your courses higher. I'm choosing to do the long side against the short side of the bed. Is there an exact science to this? Probably. I don't know what the science is behind that, but this feels right to me. You can do them long ways this way, but I feel like since this is a shorter side, it needs a little bit more surface area for the corner braces. Now the reason I'm not putting another screw and another screw here so far, because I might have to wiggle this around just a little bit. So it's here, but then once we get this course built and this course built, we can then secure it to all 3 courses. This is our second course. So what I'm doing is connecting the long side to the short side through the ends. This is our corner piece that we just have secured with 1 screw down here for now, because we might need to move this course around. If we need to move it, adjust it, and this is stuck in place, sometimes this can get in your way. So keep it here for now, and then once you get your 3rd course, you can kind of adjust everything and then pull this tight to this board, and screw it in. I have all of my courses attached, and now you can see that I cut my corner and side braces a few inches shorter so they can be hidden on the inside. Screw your side braces on and you're almost done. If you are running any sort of drip line into your beds, now is the time to cut a little hole in your hardware cloth and insert your main supply line on the inside of your raised bed. It's going to connect from here, go in here, and the one that's going to come up the long side. Let's talk about how you want to fill your beds. There's a lot of different methods on how to fill your beds. You can put cardboard on the bottom, you can do whatever. The biggest takeaway that I've found from the internet is to fill up a lot of the volume with kind of organic materials like this, like limbs, stumps, leaves, all that kind of really good jazz. It's going to break down over the years and turn into compost and add nutrients back into your soil. And it also takes up volume. So this is what I'm doing. I'm kind of filling at least the first, probably third, with a lot of this organic material. We just did a big cleanup of a lot of the trees around the property, so I do have a lot of good material like this. If you don't have access to this kind of material, check your local municipality. Sometimes the dumps, the transfer stations have free compost or free mulch or just free material kind of like this that you are more than welcome to take. Now is also the time to think about any sort of trellising. If you want any sort of trellis or arbor or pergola type thing built on the inside of your bed. Now I'm going to take you back in time real quick to when I added this cattle panel trellis to these raised beds, and I'm going to tell you why I chose to put them in the outsides as well. Hello and welcome to the garden. It is a very hot July day, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to create a little arbor between some raised beds. Now I have shown you how to create these beds before, but I got some cucumbers going nuts, some tomatoes going nuts, and some red noodle beans on the other side going nuts as well, and I need some trellising support. Now originally I'd planned to build some really cute arbors out of wood, but you know, sometimes plans just don't happen how you want them to. Sometimes you get busy, sometimes life gets in the way, and sometimes you just have to make do and put some support up for your plants because you've spent a lot of time and money and effort babying all of your little plants, and You need to give them some support. Like we all need some support in life, you know? So the really beautiful wooden arbor trellis thing that I had in my mind is gonna have to wait till a further date. Next year, maybe. After that, probably. So for now, we're gonna do cattle panel fencing, and it is so easy. You know, I really had no idea how to do this, but I went to Tractor Supply. Go to Tractor Supply. It's the cheapest I've found. These are 16 feet panels. You do need a pickup truck, or you do need a trailer to pick them up in. Thank goodness I had a trailer, an 8-foot long trailer. Bent them in a little U. They sat right in the back just perfectly. So I'm going to show you how to attach them. There's many ways, but this is how I figured it out. So my initial plan was to put this cattle panel inside. As you can see, it is a lot wider than what I have room for. It won't slide in behind. So we're gonna have to attach it to the outside, and that's fine. Voila. These are called furring strips. You can get these at your hardware store. They come in 8-foot lengths. They're like $1 a piece, $1.25 a piece. They're not like pretty, but that is okay. And I just cut them directly in half. So they're 48 inches long. And what I'm gonna do is, as you've seen on the other one, we're gonna attach them on the outside like so. If you did run any sort of drip line, make sure, like see my drip line is up here, it goes under and up. Avoid putting any screws right here because you don't want to puncture your drip line. Just kind of go off center a little bit. So to be completely honest, cattle panel was not my #1 choice because I did read somewhere that it could possibly leach lead into your soil. Is that true? I have no idea. Was that fake news? I have no idea. But I also did read that it's probably highly improbable that that would happen. And even if it did leach any sort of anything in there, your plants wouldn't suck it up. Do with that information what you will, do your own research. So I'm kind of okay that these aren't sitting in the soil, that they're on the outside, and that the plants are just kind of climbing up them. They're not soaking up any nutrients from this. They're just using it as a support. So I'm pretty okay with it being on the outside of the soil. Also, don't mind the poison ivy on my chin. Lovely. Summer, it's great. Hummingbird. But if you do have any information and you do know that these are hazardous and they leach lead, please let us know in the comments below. But also, if you do know that they're completely safe, let us know that as well. Please and thank you. Here comes the fun part. I gotta kind of untangle these, figure out what goes where, thread it on up through. Here we have a ton of cucumbers and some little watermelons. Look, where'd it go? It's my tiny little watermelon. Ah, it's so cute. Hope you guys enjoyed this video on how to build some raised beds. I cannot wait to see what you guys do. You guys are so creative. Tag me over on Instagram. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And I will see you for next week's video where I'm going to talk about all things drip irrigation. All right, see you on the next one. Bye.